This teen saw a flash of light while camping. You won't believe what she found outside her tent. For Juliette Moore, a weekend camping with her boyfriend sounded like the perfect getaway. Not only would they be able to spend some time alone together, but they could get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. However, nature had other plans. While Juliette was inside her tent, she noticed a terrifyingly bright flash of light. And when she looked outside, she spotted something that made her blood run cold. You won't believe this incredible and shocking story. Juliette Moore met her boyfriend Isaiah Cormier when they were 16. Both members of the rowing club, it was love at first sight for the young couple. Growing up in Boulder, Colorado, being outside was second nature for the two teens, so they shared a common love for rowing, camping, and other outdoor activities. After 2 years of dating, the couple's relationship was rock solid. However, they were concerned about maintaining their love in the future. With high school coming to an end, they now faced a possibility where they could end up going their separate ways. For Juliette Moore, a weekend camping with her boyfriend sounded like the perfect getaway. Not only would they be able to spend some time alone together, but they could get away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. However, nature had other plans. While Juliette was inside her tent, she noticed a terrifyingly bright flash of light. And when she looked outside, she spotted something that made her blood run cold. You won't believe this incredible and shocking story. Juliette Moore met her boyfriend Isaiah Cormier when they were 16. Both members of the rowing club, it was love at first sight for the young couple. Growing up in Boulder, Colorado, being outside was second nature for the two teens, so they shared a common love for rowing, camping, and other outdoor activities. After 2 years of dating, the couple's relationship was rock solid. However, they were concerned about maintaining their love in the future. With high school coming to an end, they now faced a possibility where they could end up going their separate ways. However, Isaiah had no interest in being separated from the love of his life. Therefore, the couple decided to attend Montana State University that upcoming fall. There was no way they would allow college plans to come between them. Before starting college, both Juliette and Isaiah decided to get away to the mountains for a camping trip. They selected Nederland, Co as their spot and planned to spend 2 nights deep in the wilderness away from the urban landscape. The campsite they chose was picture perfect and the view spectacular. The first day of their trip everything went perfectly. They laughed. They talked. They planned for the future. Unfortunately, on the second day, everything went wrong. The day started off fine enough. It was a Saturday and they decided to enjoy lunch in town. With the weather predicting a storm incoming, they chose to head back to camp so they could wait it out from the safety of their tent. Worried that the storm could blow away some of their valuables, Isaiah decided to put some things in their truck just to be safe. It was a mad dash to beat the bad weather, as the wind began to pick up and the dark clouds rolled in. And let's just say, this storm was not playing around. As Isaiah quickly packed up the truck, a flash of lightning streaked across the sky, crashing down near the campsite. Thunder began to rumble and then another flash. Realizing they needed to get inside, Juliette quickly ran to the tent, unaware that her boyfriend remained behind. Just as Juliette reached the tent, a blinding flash of light lit up the entire area. I had gone inside the tent 10 or 20 seconds earlier. I saw a really bright flash of light through the tent, she told the Daily Camera. Concerned about her boyfriend, Juliette peeked outside of the tent. What she saw made her blood turn to ice water. A few feet away, Isaiah was lying face down on the ground. And he wasn't moving. According to Juliette, the world seemed to slow down when she saw him there motionless. It's as if everything just went quiet. Immediately, Juliette braved the storm to reach her boyfriend. What could have happened? Rolling Isaiah over, Juliette was horrified. She thought he had been struck by lightning and knew time was of the essence. Now, she had to figure out if the man she loved more than anything in the world was even alive. So how did Juliette know her boyfriend had been struck by lightning? His coloring, it was a lot of colors. He was, I don't know if you've ever seen electrical injuries before, but yellow, red. And he started turning blue, but that's because he had stopped breathing. Juliette knew with Isaiah not breathing she only had precious moments to save his life. Thankfully, she had completed a CPR training course the previous month. Confident, Juliette knew it was up to her to save her boyfriend. Remembering all that she had learned, Juliette immediately began to perform mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. After several agonizing moments, Isaiah began to breathe. Unfortunately, things were going to take another turn for the worse. Isaiah had only just begun to take a few shallow breaths when he stopped breathing again. As his skin turned blue, Juliette once again performed CPR in order to save his life. Thankfully, it was successful and the young man began to breathe. However, Juliette knew she had to get him to a hospital quickly. Juliette began to call out for help, hoping that someone might be nearby. She screamed at the top of her lungs, realizing there was no possible way she could get Isaiah's limp body into her truck on her own. Thankfully, Juliette was in luck because another camper had been setting up their tent close by. Quickly, they loaded Isaiah into Juliette's truck, working carefully so they would not injure him any further. Once he was secure, Juliette immediately began the journey down the mountain and back to town. Desperate to get in touch with the local paramedics, Juliette struggled to get a signal due to being so high up in the mountains. However, after several attempts, she made it through to the paramedics. When the paramedics arrived, they quickly transferred Isaiah into an ambulance so he could get the professional care he needed. After an examination, they knew they had to get him to a hospital ASAP. Isaiah was rushed to the hospital in Boulder where he was quickly examined and then transferred to the Achilles Anschutz Medical Campus in Aurora. Despite being struck by lightning and dying not once, but twice, his injuries were not that extensive. The doctors were surprised he only had marks on his neck and sore muscles. According to medical experts, the mark on the teen's neck was the entry point of the lightning strike. The electrical current then ran through his body before exiting via his foot. To say Isaiah was lucky to be alive would be an understatement. The doctors didn't have much in the way of instructions for care for Isaiah, despite being violently struck by lightning. They basically told me to walk it off. I was surprised that I lived, let alone that I have no permanent injuries. And for them to tell me to just start getting back to some light exercise and stuff, wow. I am very blessed to be where I am. Juliette revealed to the local news that despite the situation being as scary as it was, they tried to see the humor in it. His family started calling him Flash, she revealed. Everyone we talked to asked what his superpower was and when the next Marvel movie is coming out. Despite using humor to cope, the seriousness of the situation is not lost on Isaiah. He is forever thankful to his girlfriend for saving his life and knows that with her he would have most likely have died from the lightning strike. According to the couple, it had been Juliette's CPR training that had been the difference between life and death. They have now made it their mission to encourage others to receive the skills needed to save a life in the future. The couple is encouraging family, friends, and their local community to get certified. You never know when you might need to save someone. For Isaiah, the fact he survived relatively unscathed is nothing short of a miracle and he doesn't take it for granted. Juliette gave him a second chance at life and he is so happy to have such a loving girlfriend. Now, Isaiah is looking forward to going to college with Juliette and spending time with the love of his life. I was going to die and she brought me back. I was going to die again and she brought me back, he told the local news. I'm excited to spend the rest of the life she gave me with her.